2019, on the whole, has been a pretty good year for movies. But one thing I've noticed is that we've been getting a lot of genre comedies. Superhero comedy, horror comedy, satirical comedy, animated comedy. I haven't really seen any quote-unquote pure comedies. These movies that you can sum up as comedy and that's it. I haven't seen a lot of movies that are just comedies, plain and simple. So on that note, let's talk about this comedy where Taika Watiti parodies Hitler.
여기? Oh god. Nothing makes sense anymore. Yeah, I know. It's definitely not a good time to be a Nazi.
Hello there everybody, it's me, the Canadian Movie Buff, with a review of JoJo Rabbit. JoJo Rabbit follows a 10-year-old boy named Johannes JoJo Betzler and his life in a German village during the late stages of World War II. He comes across a Jewish girl hiding in his home, and when he discovers that his mother is the one who's been hiding her, he starts to question the world around him and his loyalty to the Nazi regime. To help with this, he confides in with his imaginary friend, Adolf Hitler. Taika Watiti has made a career in the bizarre and hilarious, adding a little something to make his movies stand out. Every movie he makes, he tries to make something special, whether it's through visuals or narrative. However, the last movie that I saw from him was Thor Ragnarok, which, in my personal opinion, was the worst depiction of Norse mythology in media in recent memory. That being said, after this movie, whatever grievances I had with Taika after Thor Ragnarok, I'm just gonna wipe them away. Well, at least until Thor Love and Thunder. Roman Griffin Davis absolutely nails it in the lead role. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't been in the conversation for Best Actor at the various awards. JoJo is this 10-year-old boy. He has this naivety and innocence of the world, but he's also Hitler Youth, and it's evident that that childhood innocence has been twisted to mold him into a good follower. We see everything through his perspective, so everything related to his time as a Nazi youth is seen as awesome and amazing. And that's where the black comedy comes in, because you have this kid who doesn't know any better, yet he's being exploited to be a part of this regime. When he first finds Elsa in the attic, he has like these notes about what all the things he's been told about Jewish people and the certain powers that they have. It combines the hate and prejudice of the regime with this childlike innocence. It's a disturbingly effective way of showing how a child's imagination can be twisted to follow a certain narrative. What's funny is that it's this 10-year-old boy who's believing all this nonsense that he was taught, and yet the adults in his life believe it as well. It's a weird kind of funny because these are blatant lies that the Nazi regime used to turn German people against Jews, so seeing it being played for laughs is pretty shocking. Effective, but shocking. What this movie does really well though is it understands the severity of the regime and the war. When we start off in the story, it is a full-blown parody. In the opening credits, you have German youth screaming in adoration and off-screen Hitler while a German dub of I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles plays. It sets the tone right there, which gradually shifts as the movie progresses. This is where Taika Watiti did an excellent job here. Starting off, going full-blown comedy, look at these funny moments. Oh, that kid just accidentally stabbed himself with a knife. JoJo is running along with his imaginary friend Hitler. But as the movie progresses, things change, little by little. JoJo's starting to realize the lies that he's been told, and that shifts his perspective. As JoJo spends time with Elsa, and he sees more of what is going on and the horrors that the war is bringing. Whether it's people being executed for being traitors to the party, or going on a bike ride and seeing soldiers return from the front lines. It offers a perspective that only a child of this time and place could have. This is also demonstrated through the production design and Taika Watiti's performance as Adolf Hitler. When the movie starts, the village seems very storybook, almost not quite like a fairy tale, but very vibrant, very warm and welcoming. Bright colors everywhere, friendly, happy faces. As the movie goes on and the Allies start closing in on the village, you see it become more and more decrepit. The bright colors are faded away. The friendly faces are replaced with scowls. People are becoming desperate and scared. It's only a matter of time before they're expected to make their last stand. And Hitler expects everyone, including children, to fight to the death. Speaking of which, Watiti's performance as the dictator is, well, surprisingly, almost reminiscent of Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator, making him this happy-go-lucky guy who is best friends with this 10-year-old. As the movie goes on, things take a turn. He's colder, despondent. He's less receptive. You start to see his true colors bubble to the surface. And it's in this one moment in the movie where JoJo is talking to Hitler. And then he starts to go on a tangent. And that tangent becomes a rant. A loud, angry rant. Much like all his iconic speeches, where he rants, raves, screams, much like JoJo, we realize that he is a monster. A truly hate-filled monster. And that was just an astounding moment in the movie. It is a truly spellbinding performance, and Taika Watiti, for the little screen time he has, makes the absolute most of it. The same could be said for the rest of the cast. Thomasin McKenzie as Elsa, Scarlett Johansson as JoJo's mom, Sam Rockwell as an officer that JoJo looks up to, Rebel Wilson as an instructor at Nazi camp, Archie Yates as JoJo's best friend. Every actor in this movie makes the absolute most of what they're given to do, and it is amazing. It's one thing when your entire cast doesn't give a bad performance, but it's truly something special when everyone gives a great one. Honestly, I feel like if all the characters were given just a little bit more screen time, all the acting awards would have been filled with cast from this movie. While I did enjoy the growing relationship between Elsa and JoJo, I was able to predict how it was going to end for them. And this is not a fault of the movie, it's just that sometimes my brain likes to do this thing where it likes to try and guess what's going to happen. And once that part of my brain starts going, it gets a bit hard to shut it up. And that kind of took away the experience for me because this was a truly great movie and I liked it. And I hate that I had that little nagging voice that said, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. See, shut up, shut up. One genuine criticism that I think I can hold against this movie though is there are moments where it feels like it's pulling its punches. And I don't mean just shock humor. It felt like there were some ideas that Watiti wanted to take further, but then he had to pull back. I will give him credit for recognizing when enough is enough, but it's one of those things where you can tell that a director wanted to explore an idea or a plot line or some other thing, but they just didn't go for it. Jojo Rabbit is a terrific satire, but an even better dramedy. The movie definitely changes tone as it progresses, but it never feels like one is being undercut by the other. Much like how JoJo's view of the world shifts, the tone of the movie gradually shifts. There is one scene in this movie that I won't spoil here, but if you've seen it, you likely know what I'm talking about, and it just made my heart drop. It was a truly sad moment. But what really made me gain my respect for this movie, and Taika Watiti as a director, he didn't undercut it, or interrupt it, or cheapen it with a gag or joke. That was a problem I had with Thor Ragnarok, and it was nice that Watiti recognized that mistake and doesn't repeat it here. I'd like to know what Watiti's thoughts are, whether he found this an easy movie to make, or if it was a daunting challenge for him. Whatever the case, it feels like he crafted it to perfection. Everything from the writing, the acting, the directing, the cinematography, the design, the score. As cheesy as this may sound, it all comes together to create some pure movie magic. It truly is an amazing movie, and honestly, one of my favorites of 2019. I think I'm going to go all in on this review and say that it is a total incrediblast. Alright, that's my review of JoJo Rabbit. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you're new here. And as always, this is the Canadian Movie Buff saying I hope you had a fantastic weekend at the movies. See ya!